is Martin Fierro, and I am from Texas. I'm a transplanted Texan that lives in California.
Martin, why don't we just start off talking about your first remembering meeting John and how you guys got together, that whole story.
Okay. Well, my first recollection of John was in 1967 when they played at Golden Gate Park, Quicksilver Messenger Service, and the Grateful Dead. They played a couple of concerts out there for the hippies, and that's what I had to come out to California to be. Since in Texas they weren't allowing us to be hippies, had to come out to California and experience that type of thing, which dealt with all the newfound freedoms, of rolling up the big ones and enjoying them openly in the street, and all that kind of thing, Texas, you couldn't do that. You could get 15 years for smoking one of those things. So a lot of us Texans moved to California, and we found everything very beautiful out here. Janis Joplin, Bo Skaggs, I don't know, a lot of Sir Douglas, the people from Mother Earth. I was working with a group called Mother Earth at the time. And we used to do some gigs with Quicksilver, and I met John, and he had his green velvet coat on, and that was really hip, And of course, they were Californians, man. They were really stuck up. None of those guys wanted to talk to any of us Texans. We were like the lowest lives that ever lived. But since we were effective life that you couldn't avoid. We were out here to stay, all of us. And so eventually we merged and we all became friends. Because we had a lot of things to offer too as musicians. We had already been professionals for many, many years in Texas, And in Texas, unless you know how to really play good, forget it. So once the California guys saw that we could really play, then we became friends from the standpoint that maybe we could all learn something from each other that was really beautiful, which is what we did, And then a couple of years later, Quicksilver Messenger Service, the guys in the band asked me to put some horns on one of the albums, What About Me? And little did I know that at that time, John and Quicksilver were on the big falling out. Dino Valente and Gary Duncan and the boys were having big problems. So what they did is that they took out John's guitar part to put my horn parts on the thing, And John was in Hawaii when that happened. When he came back, and he found out what happened. Boy, he was really teed off. He really didn't like that at all. So our first experiences working together was like one that we didn't really like each other that much. And then Quicksilver Messenger Service did a big gig at Winterland with the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane, and that was for New Year's Eve, one of the great big extravaganzas. And that was the weekend that Janis died, and that was really heavy because it really united all of us, both the Texas guys and the California guys, because we all found out that we were all actually what was known as the San Francisco Sound, And once we found that we identified that heavy all with each other, it was really like a great shocker. But still, John left the band after that, and I remember I didn't see much of him for a while, and thinking that he was still mad at me for what they had done to his guitar tracks. I didn't see him for a few years, I went about my way of playing with different bands. But then I'd say about 15 years later, when this little band, this guys from this band came over to my house to ask me to play some gigs with them. They were guys from the band called Zero. And I wasn't really playing too much in those days because I was really pissed off at the whole world. I was kind of just kind of squirreled away in my basement. I had been living in my basement for about 3 years, you know. And Greg Anton came up to me. He says, "Hey, man, you know, we've been waiting outside your house for 2 days. Finally, you came out. We want to ask you to come play a gig with us." And I said, "No, man, I'm not playing gigs anymore." And they said, "Oh, come on, man, don't be like that. Come play with us." Do you know who's playing with us? Is Steve Kimak and John Ferre, and of course John Cipollina's playing with us. I said, "John Cipollina?" They said, "Yeah." Oh man, I said, "This is the last person that wants to see me, right?" So they said, no, come on down and play with us, man, you know. So I said, I might show up. So I showed up at the gig, and of course, who do I see when I first go into the dressing room? There's John. His arms just extended to me saying, "Hey, Martin, man, I haven't seen you in such a long time. How you been, man, this and that." I couldn't help it but just embrace him and tell him how much I loved him and how much I had missed him, you know. And that started up a relationship that was really, really sweet, because we were friends until he passed away, and we were really, really close. We became so close that it was incredible. We became roommates on the road for 4 years. Evelyn became my mom, because they adopted me as part of the family, you know. And since John and I were roommates, we had all kinds of funny experiences and all kinds of crazy stories that went on in the road with us. And to me, John was an incredible musician. One time I invited him to come and sit in with my band, which was a jazz band, in Tiburon, and because he wasn't doing anything that week. So I never expected him to show up, but he did. He showed up with his guitar, and he had his twin reverb with him, you know, and which weighed about 400 pounds. And I had no idea that John was such an excellent musician. Once he plugged in, he played all these tunes, man, by Chick Corea and all these heavy jazz people that you know, at the time we were into, just seeing how many people we could impress at the club and all that. John came in there and just played the hell out of everything without ever hearing any of those tunes. He just went through the material as if he had written it. You know, to me that was very, very impressive, you know. But at the same time, he was so humble that later on I understood why people just sometimes stepped on him and mistreated him. When people would do things to him, he would internalize them, and he wouldn't say anything to anybody. I mean, you could just insult him, and he would never say anything bad to you, because he was a perfect gentleman, of course, you know. And he wouldn't lower himself down to any level to get mad enough to tell you that he'd go home and he'd probably smoke 3 packages of cigarettes in a row and get it off that way, you know. But I don't know. To me, he was my friend, and that's it. You know, just a good friend.
Have you got any